Drop the gun! Show me your hands!
I was talking with a group of people from Kansas City, Missouri, or KCMO as they call it, and every one of them insisted that Kansas City, Kansas was the far more dangerous of the two Kansas cities. They didn't know I produced a crime channel on YouTube, so I listened and kept my thoughts to myself and then decided to do a video comparing the two cities just to make sure my initial thoughts were correct about these two cities. So we'll start with population. Kansas City, Kansas has a population of 151,000, and Kansas City, Missouri is 509,000, more than 3 times larger. The Kansas side is losing over 5,000 people a year, and the Missouri side is gaining around 1,400 people a year. Demographically, Kansas City, Kansas is 36% white, 32% Hispanic, 20% black, with a 6% Asian population. Kansas City, Missouri is 56% white, 24% black, 11% Hispanic, and 3% Asian. So Kansas City, Kansas would likely be considered the more diverse of the two. The average age in Kansas City, Kansas is nearly 34, and Kansas, Missouri is over 35. The average income in Kansas City, Kansas is $37,000 a year, and KCMO is considerably higher at over $42,000 a year. 70% of Kansas City, Kansas residents speak only English, whereas 88% of the Kansas City, Missouri residents speak English only. The poverty rate in Kansas is over 18%, whereas Kansas City, Missouri is lower at 15%. The Kansas side has a 42% marriage rate, and the Missouri side is over 40%. Both of these numbers are lower than the U.S. average. As far as where their citizens were born, Kansas City, Kansas is 17% foreign-born, and nearly 13% are non-citizens. Missouri, on the other hand, is 93% native-born, and just over 4% are non-citizens. Now, looking at all that information, I would probably come to the conclusion that my KCMO friends might be right, and the Kansas side is more dangerous. But let's look at the actual crime statistics and not just the makeup of the citizens. The violent crime rate on the Kansas side is 69% higher than the national average, which I'd consider regular city bad. On the Missouri side, it's considerably higher at 281% higher than the U.S. average. The property and overall crime is also worse on the Missouri side. In 2020, Kansas City, Missouri recorded its highest number of homicides in the city's history with 182. They followed that up with 157 in 2021, which was the second highest yearly total till 2022 when they recorded 171 murders. On the other side, Kansas, they reported 51 in 2021 and 40 in 2022. And through September of 2023, Kansas City, Missouri reported 147, and Kansas City, Kansas has reported 19 homicides. So those numbers don't mean much as a comparison basis, as Missouri is 3 times larger than the size of the Kansas side. The murder rates in 2021 of each city are: Kansas City, Kansas's murder rate was 33, and Kansas City, Missouri's murder rate was 31. So Kansas City, Kansas was higher that year. In 2022, the murder rates were 26 for Kansas City, Kansas, and 34 for Kansas City, Missouri. And so far through 2023, Kansas City, Kansas murder rate is 17, and Kansas City, Missouri has a murder rate of 38. So the murder rate in 2021 of the Kansas side was higher, but their numbers for homicides are declining each year, whereas the Missouri side are increasing each year. And KCMO, if they stick to their current pace till the end of 2023, they'll set a new homicide record for the city, as they're on pace for 195 this year. So the declining population of Kansas City, Kansas has actually made the city safer, which often isn't the case. There are good and bad things about both cities, but when it comes to which is more dangerous, as far as murders go, Kansas City, Missouri would easily take the prize. And your odds of becoming a victim of a violent crime in Kansas City, Kansas is 1 in 153. In Kansas City, Missouri, it's 1 in 68. You decide which is safer.